Hello, welcome back. This is Mark Witkowski with Online Automation and Responsive Leads with Part 2, Postmaster Software Screenshare, and exactly how to save up to an hour a day managing contacts, building a database list, and following up with a secret automation tool no one knows or can tell that you're using. Postmaster is a staple software product for my company. Online Automation was developed in 1999. And since then, we've sold over 10,000 licenses, and thousands of those licenses have gone to networkers to help them automate, save time and money, and get a lot of very critical tasks done in a very short amount of time. That is a challenge of networkers today with busy lives and families and jobs, is to be able to effectively prospect. We have small windows to reach out by the phone, the most important tool for the networker. But email for a couple of reasons. One is the proliferation of social media platforms and communicating through social media, and the increase in the amount of volume and of email and spam, I think, has definitely pushed email to the back seat. And that's unfortunate because, as we talked about in the last video, it is still the most cost-effective way to reach out to your prospect. And keep in mind that there's a lot of white noise with the amount of email. But once you've made a connection with a prospect, oftentimes your emails get noticed, open, and read, and that is a big consideration to look at. Now, there's two camps, and when it comes to prospecting through networkers, one is knows that they need to send email, doesn't want to use a traditional autoresponder that everybody knows is automated. They want to have more of a personal touch, so they're spending a lot of time in a given day, keeping track of who's got what messages and which messages they want to send, doing a lot of copying and pasting just to be able to get that personal hand-touched message out to the prospect. The other is focusing just primarily on the phone and may send, let's say, an introductory email and maybe a follow-up, but not much after that. And so there's a perfect compromise, a balance to automating that process, but yet sending messages in such a way that they're not branded to an autoresponder company. There's no way for the prospect to know that it was automated in any way. They can be as personal as any message that you would sit down and type out on your keyboard and send to the prospect, and that's how they look at it. It's more of an intimate communication, and in this day and age, we do agree that is very important. The problem is that 4 out of 5 networkers, based on research in the last 2 months, maybe 2.5 months, are not building a list, and they're not using email anywhere near its fullest extent. And so the problem is that the 95 to 98% very shortly kind of go into a black hole or into the abyss, and then are kind of gone for good. And that's a terrible waste of resources and time. And Postmaster, as you'll see, makes it very easy to build your list as you go, no matter how you generate and collect email addresses and phone numbers and contacts as you're prospecting. Now, the positive side or outlook of this is because so many networkers are not utilizing email to its fullest extent, are not building a list, this creates a window of opportunity and a strong competitive advantage to get back to the one of the core prospecting tools. And the phone is always going to be the primary tool, and that's always the goal. But what email can do over the long term is be kind of a qualifying machine, and where you'll know based on who's opening and reading and clicking on your links in your email, who you should be focusing on and connecting with. Now, on the page that you're at currently, pay attention to there's some several places here where there's a form that you can fill out, and you'll get an email instantly that will provide the download link, location, and then a couple important steps when you install and then open the software. And then there's also some training links in here. We have some tremendous step-by-step walkthroughs, and then videos. But when we get into the software here in just a moment, you'll see that it is very easy to set up. So don't let that be a deterrent, because learning and using software at its at the basics. Now, we do have IES that will you see here that we'll go through. That gets a little bit more complicated, but that's more on the front end, reading email, and you can further automate the process. But as far as sending individual messages and your automated follow-up series of personalized messages, that's all in the primary Postmaster, and we'll get to that. One of the things I want to just point out real quick is some of the accolades. Frank Kern and Terry Dean. Marlon Sanders is another one that was a big fan of the software. And you can kind of take a peek at those, but I want to point out a couple of our testimonies here. Kevin Wilkie, here's one. After using Postmaster for 9 months, I cannot believe I was able to function without it. And I'll have 20 categories, sending out anywhere from 50 to 100 personalized follow-up messages a day, not counting immediate send messages. And we'll talk about immediate sends of messages, let's say right when you get off the phone with a contact. Your software is the best thing since the internet. What took me 3 years to get 3,500 email addresses, paying an assistant $10 an hour, cutting and pasting one at a time, which is what networkers are still doing now, because they don't want to use an autoresponder service because it's impersonal. So they're trying to do it and track and send, copy and paste each individual message. Now it takes me 3 weeks to get over 1,000 contacts and email addresses while I was sleeping. It's worth 10 times what I paid for it. In my sleep, I'm beating my competition. And that really is a primary point, because so many networkers are not building a list. So many networkers are not utilizing email on an ongoing follow-up, where you've got what we've called drip campaigns, where you send a little bit at a time, maybe 1 or 2 steps, and then a call to action. And then if they do take any action, if they open it and read it or click on a link, and those are the people that you focus on. Again, it goes back to kind of a qualifying machine. And the problem is that most people spend entirely too much time on the wrong prospects at the wrong time, and instead of focusing on the ones that really are interested, because they don't know necessarily who those people are. And of course, if they're if you're not building a list and not sending email, then the vast majority of the people get to a point where they're out of the loop, And so it's just very important that you keep those people in the loop. And when you get up to the thousands of people over a year or two, and you can still reach out to those people at a click of a button. It's no wonder that affiliate and internet marketers still say to this day that building a list and using email marketing is far and away the most important aspect of their business. So here's the software. There's also a link in here to our to Responsive Leads, our lead company. If you are looking to have fresh, responsive contacts, like-minded people that are actively looking for a way to earn extra income from home, and they can be on a daily basis. We send out leads four times a week, and those files can be uploaded right into Postmaster, and they can start on their email series in a matter of minutes. Just to give you an idea, real quick, it's import right here, third-party contacts, tab delimited file. You just browse for your file and go next, and then we've got mapping, where you just map, so it doesn't matter what files you import. You just map each just one time. You map, this goes to first name, email, last name, and so on. Just map whatever fields that you want to have come in. Hit next, choose the category, and then click import, and that's it. And they'll start scheduled on the first message in that category, and so on. If you've got it set for every 2 days or every 3 days, you don't have to track anything. The software will track it for you, and it's just a simple generate and send. Click the button, generate. Let's see. So in this case, I've got 4 messages ready to go. These are just test messages. Theoretically, you could have in no time at all have hundreds of messages in here going out on your behalf, and sharing, educating, informing, and exciting the contacts to what you're doing. Now, this is how easy the setup is. Very simply, you've got an outgoing mail server. Each message is sent individually, one at a time, fairly rapidly, but this is in no way as a bulk emailer, but it does send fairly rapidly. But again, one message at a time. Each message is a message to a person. And let me just add a place to a perfect resource that's really overlooked for those messages, where you're talking about leverage and being able to do some work one time and then have it pay off over and over and over. That's similar to what websites and blogs and things like that. Email is exactly the same. And so your outbox of your email platform is a treasure trove of personal messages written on different topics and different aspects of your business and your products that can be crafted and put and added into Postmaster. Now, if you don't know what your outgoing mail server is with your ISP, and that's what we're after, some people don't ever even use that service because they're they might be using Gmail or Yahoo or another online web-based system, so they never use this. If you don't know what it is, just call your ISP, whether it's Cox or Verizon or Comcast, whoever it is, and just ask them for their outgoing mail server. They probably don't know what Postmaster is, so just say that you're setting up Outlook and that you need your outgoing. And if you want it for future references for IES, if you want to get the incoming email server, you can get that too for future reference. Ask them that if it's password protected, we call it ESMTP. Basically, the outgoing mail server is secure. You just need to get your username and password, and you can put those in here as well. So once you've got your SMTP in there, you put in your from name, your from email that you want to use, and a default signature line that will be attached to every outgoing message, or you can put that signature, in the body of the message. It's up to you. And then just verify everything and click yes, and the software is ready to go. The next step, and again, this is all in the training, in the walkthrough, step by step by step. Okay, so in here, this is where you'll have your different categories. You can have unlimited categories, and a category, just because you have a category in here doesn't mean that there's a message series attached to it. It could be just a way to just categorize a person. Maybe there's only one message in that category, and maybe there's over time you'll have 20 messages in that category that go out every 2, 3, or 4 days or so. So you can add a category. Just put the name of the category that you want to use in here. So if let's see, then you come back and you can highlight it, and then notice for each category, if it's applicable, you can have a different from name and email and default signature too, just so that you can do that. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind. This makes it very easy to use Postmaster for multiple businesses, multiple opportunities, or your offline, your offline business, or you utilize through your job, if that's applicable. We've even have clients that use Postmaster to manage multiple clients' databases and businesses. I know that we've had a number of clients over the years that do that. So each category can have their own information. And this is where you set up the message series. It's very simple. You add a letter, select the letter, enter the days to the next message. So if we're going to let's say it's going to be three days to the next message, then we select the message and then add it to the beginning of the series or add it to the end of the series. If you wanted to squeeze another message in at the front, you can, or if you just add it to the end, and then just click the button, and you can start building. Then you just go back. Let's see, I can go ahead and do this. So you can see in position number 1 is message ID number 9, the title, the subject, and then the days to the next message. And then you just add another message and add the days that you want to wait until your next message is sent, and click add. And then you just go and verify it, and then click save, and then that's it. You're done. So let's see here. So and then we got the message library, and this can be just full of messages. What I'd like to do with the title is kind of have maybe the title be kind of so you can kind of organize your messages. So the beginning of the title might be offline prospect, and then the different messages that you're going to want to send in that series, because there's going to be times where that might apply. That particular message you might want to get into another category, or you'll send an instant message that and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. But this is how. So if we're going to add a message, this is where you put the title, and then the subject is what is actually going to appear as the subject line. And then to add the message text, on the left hand side you can put your text message, and then if you want to use HTML, just click that, and then you can paste your HTML code in here. What's very unique about Postmaster is it actually can send both text and email text and HTML, and then whichever whatever they're able to read. If they're able to read HTML, it'll display HTML. If they can only display text, which is kind of rare this day and age, but if there are people that can only view text messages, then it'll display the text message. And don't compose your messages in here. Compose them in either an HTML editor or a text editor, like Notepad. Or, you can even compose them in Word if you want, and then once you put it in here, it'll just be text. And then when you click Done, make sure you hit Save Messages. This is why we don't want you to compose messages in here, because if you compose a message and you have it just perfect, and you don't hit Save Message, then it's gone. So there's no back button or Control Z. So just have those messages saved out somewhere else. Okay, now we'll go through some of the contact management features, and then I'll show you how to use Postmaster to send actual text messages, and then finish up just a little bit on IES. So this is the contacts button. You can add a contact. This is how you add a contact in here, any kind of data that you want, and then this is how you have to put a valid email address in, and then you click here to add them to any category that you want, and then click the Save button. View all contacts, and then we have an advanced search. This is very powerful. I'll show you an example of, let's say that we want to send a message and match the whole phrase or any part of. Say we've got an event in Houston. Just add that criteria. Next step. Now you could select the category that you want to category or categories that you want to pull from, or just leave it blank and it'll pull from all the categories. And then you could also check any categories that you want to exclude from the search. This is also very, very beneficial. So we perform the search, and there we have 236 records in Houston, and you can see this was happened to be a lead that was imported in here, and you can kind of see the data in the custom, and this is all populated the moment that you upload your lead file. You've got additional contact information and the history of any messages that were sent to the contact. You've also got to stop messages if you need to stop anybody from receiving messages, whether it's text messages or email messages. You just click that button. Now if you were to, you'd have a message ready in your message library, just talking about the event in Houston, and you just click on that and then click the message that you did. The newer messages will be at the bottom, so you can just click it, and then if you click post, all 236 messages will be posted into your generate and send, which again is the same area where I could have theoretically have 3 different on category 1, message number 3, some in category 2, message number 6, and so on. And you just click generate contact category emails. You just do that once a day, and you can decide if you want to do it in the morning, early in the morning, right before lunch, and at the tail end of the afternoon are the 3 best times to send email. And so you can decide when the group messages, the series, the automated category messages are sent. Um, now, if let's say you can also do a quick search by first name, last name, or email. I've got my name in there, so let's say if I wanted to send, let's say, a test message, I wanted to test one of my messages before, again, just choose it from the library and then click post, and I'll just show you real quick. It'll populate just real quick, just like that. Go here to generate and send, and there they are. I mean, this is just really basic, very very intuitive. Now, as far as keeping, because one of the things that is really important, rather than having notes scattered about, and some maybe in this notebook, some on pieces of paper, discussing, where you kind of keep notes. You've got all these fields. You can have information and notes in here. This could be completely filled up with any kind of notes that you want, and look at all the custom fields you have. So each one of these custom fields could be used for different purposes. Plus we have all these, and it's the same thing. Each one you just double click, opens it up, and you've got a full notepad view. Also, again, history of every single message that was ever sent to a contact, the message ID, and in any particular category that they were in. So whether they were in a prospect category and then they moved into, they joined and moved into a team category, this is a great training and motivational tool as well. And now let's talk about the text messaging. You can set up a category for team members, if you want to group text team members, or if you have a few prospects that have agreed to get text messages from you about, they're just on the fence, but they still want to be notified of anything new or any events, webinars, conference calls, anything like that. You could just do a search on that category, and then send it send it in instant message. The only difference is with a text message, you want to keep it to 160 characters, and you can do that in Word. If you just highlight an area, and just so you know, they have to be kept very short. But you can see here, right here, this is already 200 characters, including spaces. So you really only have enough for a short, maybe an invitation, a phone number, and a code, or a webinar address, and reiterating it. This is an important meeting. Be sure to be there, and then that can be done in addition to maybe a phone call to remind somebody. But text messages are great because unlike, that's one thing with email, is that it's not super timely, certainly not compared to sending a text message. So if you have an event or something that you want to notify somebody or a group of people in Postmaster, you'd want to send that earlier in the day. And then as you get closer to the event time, it's best that you send send the message reminder as a text message. That way, no matter where they are, they'll get that message in a timely fashion. As far as I won't go in too much detail, but it's very simple. It's the 10-digit cell phone number and then the cell provider domain. So all you need is their permission, and then who their carrier is, and then their 10-digit cell phone number, and that's all you need. There are some services where you can try to look up the provider if you forgot to ask the provider. Sometimes you can use a service like one of these to find out who their cell provider is based on their phone number. So that's a very handy service. So that's really it in a nutshell. And some of the other things you can do a search the database by any field or category, and then you can add those contacts all at once to a category, or remove them from a category. Set a group of contacts to stop all messages. You've got a spreadsheet view of that can be exported of any group of or category or group of contacts that you searched for, and on to IES. IES is what we call the incoming email solution. This is we've kind of coined it the secretary or front end, and there's some. This is where you can manage your email. I don't have this set up right now, but this is your inbox, just like a any kind of PC based email client, and it has a lot of the different types of features, and you can make you can add folders to organize if you wanted to use this part of the system. You've got an event list which will show all the events. Basically what it does is it goes out and it can check any number of your email inboxes. Okay, so all any of your domain emails, anything like that, where what it'll do is it'll check the email incoming email server. It can leave the messages on the server, so your other client can still pick up the messages. But basically it checks and then reads the emails, and any any rules or filters. If you add a filter, you can go through this wizard and set up any kind of filter for anything. I mean, anything that's in the message header, the from email, the to email, anything, any kind of keywords in the subject line, even keywords and phrases in the body. This can be used to extract. Let's say you've got a form fill that comes to you when somebody fills out one of your forms with a company, let's say one of the company landing pages, and you get that form comes to you. IES can recognize that by the from email and the subject line, and you can set up extracting, actually extracting the information out of there and then adding it to the database. You can set up this to handle your remove requests automatically. It can actually add people to, based on the rules, it can add people to to a different category, or remove them from one category and add them to another. And so I'm not going to go through too much detail, but here's what the field you want to look in, and then equals to, contains, does not contain, custom, data to compare against, and then you click on add rule. So that's where you set up your rule, and you can have any number of rules under this particular filter that we're setting up. I can't go any further. And then data extraction tab will exactly if you're going to extract data, if it meets a filter. So there, and then actions, exactly what you want. You want to send an auto response, you want to forward that information to another email address or to somebody else. This truly is only limiting yourself by your imagination. And I don't want to get too much into this, because this is not a critical part of Postmaster. for you to get the primary benefit of building that list from any source, from anywhere that you can gather email addresses, anybody that you come in contact with, leads that you buy, past prospects that you want to start sending emails to is all handled in Postmaster. But we've got clients that have had our software for years, and they have it just set up as a very smooth running automated machine. So that's basically what I wanted to cover, and I want to reiterate to you, make sure you do fill out the form so you can get that email and you can actually download and install it and try it. It works on every platform out there, not except Mac. I mean, any Windows platform, even Windows 8, we don't have any problem with. One thing you do want to make sure when you're installing, and this will be in that email that you get, that during install, if it says that you have files on your PCs newer than the ones we are installing, click keep the files on your computer. Don't update those files. You don't need to. It'll be fine for Postmaster. I just happened to just install this on this laptop here on Windows 8, and it went without a hitch. So that's it. Appreciate it. If you've got any questions, you can email me, you can call. If you do fill out the form, and if I get an opportunity to reach out, I certainly will. But I appreciate your time, and hopefully Postmaster will be able to be that automation tool to give you that competitive advantage, and reach out and connect with more people on a more consistent basis. Thank you very much. Take care. Hope to talk to you soon.